Hey guys, it's Samantha. Today I'm showing you an everyday makeup look. Super simple, great for running errands, great for going to work, just the basics of a full makeup look. So the first step would be to moisturize your skin, which I've already done. And now I'm gonna add primer. Primer, of course, depends on what kind of skin you have. I'm using one that just kind of smooths out my skin. It's gonna eliminate any redness, and I don't even use a ton. This particular one is Dior Skin Forever, Everwear. And I just use my hands for this. I'm gonna put it all over. I always try to make sure that I get the T-zone and then spread it out on the rest of the face. Once that's done, I am gonna move into my foundation. Every day I don't wear eyeshadow. I'll do a little bit of like shadowing on the eye, but for the most part, I just kind of smooth out the texture of my skin, add a little shadowing, a little contour, a little blush, and I'm out the door. Depending on the season is what I'm wearing foundation-wise. I always have to mix depending on my skin tone. Right now I'm using a combination of Maybelline Fit Me and Dior Airflash. So I'll use the Fit Me first. I do have a little bit of a tan, believe it or not, so I'm going to use my darker color first. And I start this one on the outskirts of the face. And bring it in. I love this foundation because it is more matte, so it's great for summer, or if you're really shiny or you get oily. And it's just a sheer layer all over the face. And the eyelids. Now, if I was doing eyeshadow, I would have done my eyes first. Because we're not doing eyeshadow today, or we're doing minimal eyeshadow today, you can go ahead and put your foundation all over. So already we're seeing my skin is just being evened out. You can go ahead and grab more if you need it in certain areas, like my cheeks are a little rosy, so I want to add a little more there for some more coverage. I don't go too heavy because I add another layer with my Dior Airflash. And this is a little lighter, so I'm gonna add this in the center of my face. Same brush. And I just start really in the T-zone again. So you can already see that that's brightening up. And again, this is a sheer layer. I love doing sheer layers for natural makeup. I feel like you put too much on, it's a little hard to take off. So if you do one layer at a time, it's buildable, you can add as you need. And it really creates something that's really natural, buffed into the skin, looks like skin. My eyelids are dark. They also have some veins going on, so I want to make sure I'm covering that to brighten. Again, this is for every day. This is like I'm running errands, or if you were going to work, or you're meeting a friend. We want to keep it super natural, but just kind of to even everything out. Don't worry too much about blemishes or under eye circles, because what we're gonna do now is go in with a concealer to really cover that. So now that that's sort of giving us a veil all over the skin, we're gonna go in with the concealer where we really need the coverage. I love NARS Creamy Concealer. I'll do this under the eye. And I use like a pretty generous amount. I have some blemishes down here that I want to cover. And I like to do a little bit under the brow because it just brightens. And a little bit in this center here because I do have some darkness. You can cater this to your own face. If you feel like you have darkness in certain places, go ahead and put your concealer there. So it looks a little crazy right now. Honestly, I really like a finger to blend my concealer in. I just feel like my finger is warm, so it kind of warms up the product and blends everything in. And then I'll go back with my big foundation brush and go over it. And I want to keep that brightness from the concealer, so I go slow. This particular concealer is quite matte, which is nice. If you have really dry skin under the eye, it might not work for you, so you might have to use something a little bit more moisturizing. Too Faced Born This Way is a little bit more hydrating, so what I'll do in the winter, I'll put my NARS Creamy Concealer on first, and then I'll put a little Born This Way on top just to kind of give it a little moisture. So we're getting it a little bit blended in here with our finger. I'm really just pushing it into the skin. And then I'm going to use the foundation brush that I used before, and I'm gonna buff in to blur the lines between the concealer and the foundation. So now you can see that it's nice and bright under the eyes. I'm also gonna I might do a little bit right in, right between my eyebrows. I have some redness there. We wanna highlight sort of the center of the face. Again, I did the darker foundation on the outskirts to kind of match my body. And you guys don't have to use two foundations if you feel like you found one that's perfect for your skin. I'm just mixing because it's summer and I happen to have a little bit of a tan. So I always kind of have a couple different foundations that I'm using depending on my color, depending on the time of year. So I'm gonna set this. I love a loose powder. I just feel like really softens the skin. It doesn't really add too much more product versus like a pressed powder. Load up your brush and just start in the center of the face again and kind of blur that out. You can see it doesn't add color of any kind. It's really just setting what we already did. So nothing on the skin looks heavy because we've done those sheer layers. So from here, now we have a really even base. We're gonna go ahead and put color back into the face. I'm going to use a matte bronzer, which I love. I've been using it for years. It's from MAC. And like my Old Faithful brush from, I think, Rite Aid, don't judge it. It's a great brush. Had it literally probably for 8 years. Loading up the brush, tapping off, I'm going to go ahead and contour. It's a soft contour, it's with a powder. Again, every day. We don't want any like harsh lines or anything like that. I always start from where my ear begins. And just creating a shadow there. Yeah, you can see. Doing the other side. Once you get the placement, you can literally do this in your sleep. I don't have to even look in a mirror to know where my brush is going. It's not a harsh line, as you can see. It's really soft. And then using what's left on the brush, you're gonna go ahead and run that through your hairline. I'll also do around my chin. One last thing that I do sometimes is I'll run it down the bridges of my nose. I just don't want the center of your face to look super light or bright. You want a brightness, but you don't want it to look unnatural. And then lastly, I'll run that over my eyelids as well. Here's where I would add any eyeshadow, if any, to just kind of shadow out the eye. I like to use the bronzer, that way I'm not digging for another product. So it's the same bronzer that we just used. Now I'm using like an eyeshadow brush just to quickly grab some color and run that right through the crease of the eye. So it's giving us some depth and dimension, but it doesn't necessarily look like eyeshadow, it just looks natural. I'm going to go ahead and brush my eyebrows out. If you use an eyebrow pencil every day, you can go ahead and do this now. I just use a clear brow gel that's going to keep them in place. I brush up. Sometimes it's helpful too to brush back with the brow gel because it really gets it into the hairs so that the hairs stay in place. So you can go ahead and back brush. Go ahead and do the other eye. You can back brush here as well. And you can brush it into place however you like. I like them a little bit up just to look nice and full. I'm going to go ahead and use a little blush. I have a couple different blushes that I kind of rotate through, so depending on the color of my skin or the time of year, I'll kind of gravitate towards certain colors. I'm using 2 colors today, so I'm going to use something that's a little bit more neutral, and then I'm going to use this berry color just to give my cheeks a pop. So I'm going to start with that neutral color. And that's really going like the apple of your cheek back into the bronzer, so everything kind of just marries nicely. I like a little bit of a stronger cheek, so you can go ahead and add either more or less depending on what you like. This is the berry color. Now I'm literally gonna like tap, that's it. And you can see the difference from one cheek to the other. For eyes, you know, we've already done some shadowing. It's really up to you from here if you want to do like an eyeliner. I know a lot of people do a wing liner every day. I really just take either a black or a brown. I'm going to use black right now, but I have black, brown that I kind of rotate through. And I just kind of give my eyes some definition by running the pencil along the lash line on the top. So it's basically underneath the lashes. And just a little bit on the ends. It really just defines the lash line so that my lashes look fuller when I go ahead and put mascara on. Again, just getting the edge. And then running it on the bottom as well. If you wanted to blend out that bottom, I have like a smaller brush, like you could do a little bit of shadow, even if you wanted to skip the liner on the bottom. You can see that it adds just a little bit of dimension to the eye. Then I'm going to curl my lashes. I never skip this step. Pretty much even if I'm not wearing makeup, I'll curl my lashes. I think it just makes such a difference. My lashes are also fairly light, so I feel like this kind of helps them be seen just by lifting them. And then I love my Clinique mascara. It's waterproof. I wear waterproof every day. You just have to make sure you take it off properly, but it just lasts better for me. And then I run it on the bottom as well. Perfect. I'm gonna add a lip just to finish the look, but that's really up to you as well. You could do a chapstick or a stain. I love this NARS pencil. It's like a lipstick on a pencil. It's a no-brainer. I love things that are quick and easy. And a quick gloss on top. That kind of ties everything in together. Voila! That's it, nice and easy. You can add whatever you want to this look, but this is kind of the basics. Thanks. Make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment below. I want to hear what you guys do for your everyday makeup looks, and make sure to leave any suggestions for future videos.